What's up, my fellow scruffy looking nerd furries, and welcome to the Carbonite Chat. The teaser trailer and now the full trailer have been released. This video I'll go through both of them scene by scene, playing it in slow motion, discuss everything that is in it, everything that kind of possibly where it may have come from, some ideas, and just as much little insight or breakdown as I can at least possibly come up with at this point. So hopefully you'll enjoy it, and then after that I'll kind of discuss my thoughts of after giving it a few hours, multiple watches, and also after watching this breakdown, my overall thoughts at this point. Here in the first shot of the teaser, we see Han Solo for the first time in the Millennium Falcon. This is the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. Despite it being much cleaner and not actually looking like it, this could be the first time he actually goes through and flips a lot of these switches, which is kind of cool. Here we have what looks like an Imperial Navy recruitment office. See just a whole bunch of people in there, and then we see Han Solo coming to sit down, and he's clearly trying to join the Imperial Navy. Now we know from Legends that he actually did join the Imperial Navy, and he was there for actually a few years before leaving. Next is a storm with a Star Destroyer inside of it as you see it lightening up. And then we have underneath the Star Destroyer coming a TIE bomber is first, and then TIEs following shortly behind it. Next we see him with the Imperial officer again talking about which branch he wants to join. Of course we know this is the Flight Academy. Here we see Han pushing down the throttle. It looks like it's not the ship that they showed next. Actually, I believe that it's actually the ship that we see him flying at the very beginning of the next trailer that I'll be breaking down, because you see a female arm next to him, and it's got to be Qi'ra, played by Emilia Clarke, and it's them running away from whoever it is at that point. So it's not actually the scene we see there, and it's definitely not them on the Falcon. Here we're back to the officer. He asks what's he want to be. He says a pilot, and he says he wants to be the best in the galaxy. This doesn't fit with Han in my mind. The next shot is going through the Millennium Falcon. It's clean, it's fresh and new, which is an interesting look. It's probably how Lando had it before Han got it. And then we have Han looking up to the Millennium Falcon, probably for the first time. Here we have Emilia Clarke, who's Qi'ra. She kind of seems on the fancier side, and I would believe that she's probably connected more to Lando, but that's how she gets connected with Han. Next we see what looks like an HK series assassin droid from the Old Republic. Here we have a shot of this cool looking train. I'll get to that later as there's more information in the later trailers on what may be going on here. Next is Tobias Beckett, played by Woody Harrelson. This is also him on the train fighting against this new villain guy. We don't know who he is. And here's the first reveal of Lando, which I'm not a fan of this shot. This doesn't fit Lando in my mind. It's kind of this odd fur coat kind of look that just doesn't seem like Lando. The later trailer I'll get to, I think he looks like Lando, but here he doesn't. And then finally we have the reveal. The first time we see his face of the new Han Solo, which, we'll get more to that in the next trailer. The opening of the full trailer, we see again the flipping of the switches of Han on the Millennium Falcon. He begins talking as the Lucasfilm comes on that he's been running scams since he was 10 years old. Now this does kind of again go along with the Legend stuff, that he was doing a lot of this stuff before going and trying to join the Imperial Navy, which when he joins the Imperial Navy he was there for a few years. Now what he says here in this, while they're on this chase scene, which is a little clip again that we saw pieces of from the first teaser trailer with him and Qi'ra as he's running away, he says that he was kicked out of the academy because he had, his own mind. And so it seems like, fortunately for this movie, they're not going to go through a long period of time in him, the Imperial Navy. It may just be flashbacks of him explaining to Qi'ra who he is. I thought when I first saw this that in the original teaser where it didn't show as much, that because the ship looked, less Imperial, that they were running from smugglers or something. But that trooper that's thrown off the bike there, it looks like a trooper. And then you can see a better shot coming up right here of this ship. I think they are running from some type of Imperial force, maybe on Kessel or something like that, but we don't know for sure where this planet is. Next, overhead shot. This is the place that's probably going to be where that train was located at. And, it's a cool looking shot, but, we'll see what else has to do with that. And then there's him standing there on that planet. And then next is going to be when he's mentioned to by Beckett whether or not to join his crew. We have again the shot of the Millennium Falcon from the original teaser. Again, it looks clean. It's probably how Lando kept it much cleaner. The same shot again here of him looking up to the Millennium Falcon. It's a good shot. It's kind of got a Blade Runner-esque feel to it. He's talking about wanting to be the best pilot in the galaxy again, which again I'm not a fan of. New planet here, looks kind of cool. I don't know, it looks like a B-wing ship right there. And then Beckett mentions that he wants him to join a crew with him, which I think is leading to some of the train sequences that we see coming up. We have the reveal of Qi'ra again coming off of the Falcon. Again, this is where I think she's actually connected with Lando, who we see here, and I think this is the Lando that we want. Now this, it looks like Thandie Newton. Now, the interesting thing here with her is I think she might be Sana Solo that we got from the comics, who, if you don't know from the comics, she was the wife of Han Solo. She got married to Han Solo, and it was more to be able to do some kind of, plot, to be able to, pull off some job. But it's kind of an interesting thing, and it could be a nice little add-in to them working together. Not that they'll show them getting married for the story in this one, but it'll be an interesting throwback. So she may not be called Sana Solo, but I believe her name was Sana Starros, and so that's just an interesting little add there. Next we see some four-armed alien. That's probably a part of Beckett's team, and then a shot of Han Solo here. I think this is the same location that we saw Lando smiling in earlier in the trailer. Now we have the, do you want to join? Chewie does his little roar, and then Han says, that's a yes. Which again, man, I'm not buying him as Han Solo right now. But this is the Winter Planet. That's the shot where he was standing looking over earlier. There we've got the HK droid that I mentioned. That's kind of from the Old Republic. It looks similar at least. And Lando piloting the Millennium Falcon. And we have what looked like Han sitting actually in the back, which is very odd to see right there. Him in the back. We have this shot. I didn't mention it in the teaser because it was more in this one. But we have this kind of very classy, elegant scene, and this is probably going to be the first reveal we have of Qi'ra here, and this is where she begins to talk about the only one that knows who Han Solo is, which I really hope they don't try to make him have a heart of gold. Here we see the DL-44 heavy blaster, and that bad guy, which looks like right here, that's almost like Kylo Ren's eyepiece, which is interesting. Here, I see this cape and that mask. I want to say that's Lando, and that's something that's going to be reminiscent of his, mask that he had in Return of the Jedi. Then we have the HK again, but then we go to the ice planet, and this is interesting where I think this is going to be a train heist. We saw some scenes I mentioned in the teaser that I would talk about what it was, but we saw Woody Harrelson's character, fighting someone on top of the train. Here we see Han Solo pulling this lever, and as he pulls this lever, you'll begin to see that there's actually a kind of crate hanging underneath the big ship that kind of transfers over to all these small speeders. And I think what they're doing is they're pulling some sort of heist, and they're stealing something from whatever's on that train, whether they're on Kessel and it's one part of Kessel and it's spies from the Pikes, I'm not sure. Here we go back to Qi'ra and her talking with Han flying some more. Looks like the same ship. Some kind of explosion happens right after. He doesn't have the crates at this point, but this is where she says she knows who he is. And then we have what I guess you could call acting or trying to be Han Solo, a very awkward, weird, unconfident, not Han Solo at all, smile to stop smiling as he says, "What's that?" I'm not buying this. There's no confidence. There's no, what Han Solo was someone that was so confident in himself that he just exuded it. And this character is nervous and odd and twitchy, like he just doesn't have it. And we'll see it some more here as these scenes go by. Here's the scene that we saw from the teaser. It's the TIE bomber with other TIEs following behind. This is very possibly Kessel, and they're making the Kessel run right here, and they're trying to go through it faster as it bends around some very dangerous areas, and he's trying to fly through the shorter one, which is where we're going to get the 12 parsecs thing because he flies through the most dangerous thing. There was that tail, the hitting of the tie, which is what we saw in the trailers from Rebels Season 4. So that kind of bothers me that they did that. And here again, trying to do a Han line, kind of somewhat similar to something that we saw, him in the original trilogy, but it's just missing that, it's like someone that's trying to be cool, someone that's trying to be Han, someone that's trying to show he's, confident, but I don't buy it. And here it's like a Kraken type thing. It's interesting, it's new, it can be cool, it can be fun, but I don't know if I buy Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo. It never is believable to me. It's not. Han's just so iconic. Harrison Ford plays him just so well. There's a specific type of person that he is, and this kind of dreamer, I want to be the best pilot. Han would be like, I am the best pilot. I'm the best pilot. You don't know me? Like, you should know who I am. Like, this is who Han is. He's confident. That moment where Kira's talking about him, she knows who he is, and he kind of gives this like little smile, and then it goes away and you can see him gulp. Like, you can just tell the actor's like unconfident, and the fact that they've got to hire acting coaches for him just adds to that. You've been through now 2 full filmings of this movie, basically, with 2 different sets of directors. And this is what I mentioned at my thoughts of the last video. These are the best clips. I mean, he doesn't really sound like him. He's got a much more pubescent tone of voice than Han Solo. Unless they're going to try to play him out like he's 15 or 16 maybe, but still, he should have, he would have hit puberty. Like, his voice should be near it. Now, the first teaser, it sounded like he was too gruff, actually. I was thinking he was trying too hard to do a Han Solo accent, and it was like he was copying the old Han Solo, but now it's too, I'm worried about this fluctuation with different directors, different scenes that they're going to try to be piecing together 2 different movies. Like, is that going to be an issue? Did one director say, yeah, you need to gruff up your voice to be like Han Solo, and the other one didn't? I don't know, but I don't buy him. I'm willing to give Donald Glover a chance. I buy into the second shot with him just kind of giving that little smile. Like, I think that he's got the potential to be a really good Lando. The rest of the characters, I'm all for. But it's a Solo movie. Even if everything looks great, it looks really cool, this concept of the train heist that I think that they're beginning to show. Some of the ships that they're showing, the chase scenes, like, it's getting back to the adventure side of Star Wars, where it's this, kind of run and gun experience of adventure to adventure, kind of a serial adventure that George Lucas originally started with. But the problem is this movie is telling me that that's Han Solo, but history in my mind says no, it's not. And see, that's what with Rogue One, we didn't know 90% of the characters. We kind of knew Bail Organa. We kind of knew Mon Mothma. Those that had watched the Clone Wars kind of knew Saw Gerrera, but he was still very different, but somewhat understandable how he got there. But these were new characters, so when you're following along, it doesn't take you out of it. But when you're trying to watch this, and I'm trying to see Han and Lando together, like, I can probably buy into Lando. I can't buy into Han right now. If you can, great. One thing I will say in the comments, if there are people that like it, because I know most of the people that watch my stuff is probably not going to like it. I mean, I don't like it. Don't hate on them. Explain your reasons, give your points, but don't call them not a true fan or something like that. Our issue comes with what Disney's doing with Star Wars. Don't take it out on other fans. If they want to enjoy it, if they found a way to enjoy this trailer, that's great. I mean, the trailer, it's got some interesting stuff in it. They've added some new things that are kind of cool. It's not Han Solo. And then the characterization of Han also bothers me. This dreamer, this almost like Luke sense of like, I'm going to be something in this world. Like, Han doesn't, like, that's not Han. Han's just like, I am the best pilot. I'm a great smuggler. I'll do what it's just this, he knows he's cool. He knows he's the best. there was just, it doesn't seem fitting to put this as like his desires to be the best pilot. No, he's just the best pilot because he's not a try-hard. He's not trying to do this. He's willing to do it. The Kessel Run, I'm willing to take this chance. So these things are just, I want to believe that they're not going to butcher the character of Han. History of Disney Star Wars tells me they're going to butcher the character of Han. That's awful. The one kind of thing I'm trying to hold on to, the only thing that's giving me some sort of hope, and I really don't have hardly any hope at this point, is that Kasdan wrote the script. And it was Kasdan's idea. And I do have belief and trust in Kasdan. And I think he knows the character of Han Solo. That said, we also know that the heads of Star Wars can mess with scripts and put in and add stuff that they want. So did it get messed with? Did the multiple directors cause something to be messed with? A lot of people were saying this is one of the best Star Wars scripts ever written. A lot of people were bragging about what happened in The Last Jedi. If you like The Last Jedi, I'm sorry, fine, but you can't say it was a well-written script. The middle of the story is Canto Bight, which basically even the people that liked it said that wasn't very good. And then the other part of it was you had a chase scene where just two ships are following beside each other. Like, if you think that's a great script, you're just wrong on that. I mean, that's just how it is. There is some objective truth, and that's objectively a bad idea. If you liked how it was portrayed on screen with the special effects and all this stuff, I'm not going to use this to say you're wrong, but like, this is just, it wasn't a great script. It was some cool visuals, and if you like the rest of it, fine. But it wasn't, tell me, do you want to spend 30 minutes seeing Han Solo fly in the Millennium Falcon as a Star Destroyer follows behind him and just shoots and shoots and shoots? Is that what you want to see for the whole second act of this movie? I'm sure you don't. And so you may have bought into The Last Jedi at that moment, and again, fine. But all I'm trying to say is that that's not good script writing. So when everyone was bragging about The Last Jedi being so great and the script being so amazing, that makes me not have as big of hopes when they're talking about, the Han Solo script is the best Star Wars one ever. The benefit is Lawrence Kasdan, I have some belief in him, and this is supposed to be his last script. The other thing that I did really like in the trailer is the cinematography. Bradford Young is a great new cinematographer. He did A Most Violent Year, which had Oscar Isaacs in it. It was very good. It had a somewhat similar tone to this. And then he did Selma, which I thought was very well shot, except for one scene. There was one fight scene where it got into this weird kind of slow motion-y, over dramatic moment, and that could very well be the director's choice. I don't put that on him because everything else was shot very well. And then Arrival, where he worked with Denis Villeneuve, and that was great. That was great. And I can see the great cinematography and the great choices being done here. But again, everything else can be great. The CGI is great. The new characters are going to look cool. I like the new villain guy and how it's got this new age kind of look, but also this kind of bare bones kind of look, which if that was what the character, I'm blanking on my mind, he was from The Wire, that was supposed to be in this movie but then had to leave because he had another job when they started to reshoot and he couldn't be in it. That would have been a perfect role for him. That really bothers me if he couldn't have been that character. That would have been really great for him. I wonder, since he's supposed to be played by Paul Bettany, if that's not Paul Bettany in that suit. But that's all interesting and it's all good, and all the other stuff can be great, but the through line through this movie is Alden Ehrenreich is Han Solo. And if you can't pull it off, it's gonna bother me and a lot of Star Wars fans. If you're sitting here saying it's not that bad, okay, but this is the trailer. They've saved all this time and released this trailer now. This is the best stuff they have to offer of him. They know all the rumors are out there. Whether or not it's true, they know all the rumors are out there. If they had a clip, they were like, that's Han Solo. Why didn't they show it? Because there wasn't a point where you're like, yep, I buy it, he's Han. So even these people that are like, I'm not going to say yet. Yeah, but this is the best they had to offer of who Han is. And that's terrifying, because what did they cut out? And what if some of this stuff isn't even in the trailers? We saw that with Rogue One. They reshot so many different stuff. There was a lot of scenes in Rogue One that we saw in the trailer that we never saw in the movie because they were cut out. But they were like, let's use them. That's great. How much of that is the case in this? We don't know. The one thing that I would like to see with Lucasfilm, it's a little bit of this. It can go either way. You can put out a lot of trailers and teasers and TV spots and possibly ruin too much and make people be like, wait a minute, maybe he was right. Maybe that guy can't act as Han Solo. Or if he's close, if this is just the average for him, and he's not Han Solo, but he's not that bad, then post trailer. Show me over and over and over and over and over again that this is the Han Solo, so that by the time I get into the theaters, I've accepted it in my mind, if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible, but that's the only thing. The more I watch the trailer today, breaking it down, going through it, I was less depressed, I guess is the best way I could say when watching it. So that's my own personal feeling. Hear your thoughts down below. I do think that's the Kessel Run that we saw at the end, which I think can be interesting. I think that can be a nice little nod. There's a lot of nostalgic stuff here that they're trying to use. As long as it's not too in your face, pull you out of the movie thing. Where that shows Han kind of unbuckling the holster. Now, interesting, could it not be Han and it actually be Beckett, Tobias Beckett? And that's how we learn about how Han got his gun. That it's actually Tobias Beckett. And they're making you think it's Han because you see the DL-44 heavy blaster pistol. But actually, Beckett gets shot down and Han takes his gun. And that's why it's so special to him, is because it was his mentor's gun. I don't know. That's just a thought I had because I was like, that's Han, definitely. And I'm like, wait a minute. All they showed was the leg. And it's kind of got a little reminiscent of feel of Indiana Jones in it, which is fine. I like that they're adding a lot of stuff from Legends. Again, this had potential, and this still, I'll say, has potential. To be fair, I know a lot of you in the comments are going to be yelling at me like, what are you talking about? This is a disaster. I have very low expectations. Very low expectations. But I'm not going to completely slam it down until I see the movie. And don't try to call me out and say, I'm bending to Disney or whatever, because if you've watched me and you've seen my videos before, I'll call it for what it's worth. And I'm saying right now, I have zero hope. I don't like it. I think the Han Solo guy, Alden Ehrenreich, is not a good. I don't think he can play Han Solo. I'm not pulling any punches. I'm simply saying I'm not going to write it off. I mean, I've got a channel. I'm going to go watch the movie so I can review it for people. So I'm going to watch it. So for my own personal self, I've got to try to find some stuff to believe in here. And if you're going to act like everything about this trailer was absolutely horrible, I mean, you're not being rational. And I understand. I get that way as well. We're being passionate. So don't get mad and be like, I hate you. You're calling me irrational now. Like, everyone, when they're passionate and love things, when something happens to a loved one, you can act irrational at that point. So, like, it's not a bad thing. We've all done it. I've been depressed today because of how bad this was. I don't know. I'm kind of at a little bit of a loss of words. I'll be interested to find out how many trailers we get going forward to that. I'm very interested to see what everybody says. Maybe some people can help turn me around. I kind of passed through some of the comments on my video, but I've been working on editing this one most of the day, so I didn't read all of them. I saw there was some likes, some dislikes, and I'm never watching the movie, and I understand it. Please be fair to whoever's down below. Don't hate on anyone. Don't call them not a Star Wars fan or anything like that. I know my comments are always pretty solid and being respectful to everyone's opinion, as long as they're being respectful as well, and I thank you guys for that. Please keep that being the same here. Understand some people just want to be able to like Star Wars, and just because Disney's ruining things, don't ruin things more for other people that still like it. and, you know, discuss your feelings, talk it out, say how you feel, but just always be respectful, as you always are. I'll post my 2 reactions right here, and I'll post Han and Leia about their love in Empire so we can see the real Han, in my opinion. I feel the Not My Han hashtag coming along pretty soon, and possibly a video with that. And then I'll post the Poe is not a villain video. Guys, thank you very much for watching, as always, and never forget, you Nerdfurters, I love you.